make sure to check out the link in the description if you want me to build out your business app in 4 weeks actually. Today, we are going to take a look at expansion on our previous video. So we basically made a navigation link, but which was on a data change. So if you just clicked on Tap Me over here, which was just going to go to that navigation, to that destination. And we made this available through the is presented Boolean change, so data change. And this is very, very useful in many, many terms in SwiftUI. Go ahead and check out the second link in the description if you want to take a look at the whole playlist. Now, in that video, I also talked about the one where we don't have is presented, we have items. So let's say we have a list of items. Then you could just use for the sheet and the full screen cover, the one with the sheet dot sheet item. But we don't have that with this link, you know, and many of you asked, how could we do that? Well, today we are going to do just that. So how does it work? Well, for the sheet, let me just type in here for the demo purposes. So dot sheet, you know, we have is presented, and then we have this, the one with the item and on dismiss content. So that item needs to be a binding of identifiable. And we are going to also do a little bit of trick to know which item has been selected. So in our case, our item will need to be also equatable. So we're going to have these identifiables, equatables passed along our navigation. So not just a simple string or whatever. So therefore, I'm just going to start off by creating a profile. So let's say we are going to go into any of 3 profiles, for example. Let me just scroll all the way down and let's create a struct called profile. That would be identifiable. Again, we do actually need that. And equatable. Let's take care of the identifier. ID equals UUID. Okay. And then something like name. That will be just fine for our model. Okay. Next up, let me just show you where we navigated. We navigated to the destination view in our previous video, but you know, that was just a simple view, a demo view. In our case, we actually do need to move that profile into our view that we are going to. So I'm just going to create a new one. Let's create a new file from template, SwiftUI view, and then let's just go detail view. Okay. And now I can just simply add in the requirements, one requirement, profile of type profile, and then we're just going to use the name. So hello profile dot name. Okay, and yeah, I'm just going to remove the preview. We don't need that. Okay, so we got our detail view, we got our model that we are going to pass along data with. Now it's time to create the actual view modifier. Remember, we are going to create, in the previous video we did this also, we create a view modifier, and then we are going to have an extension on the view, so we can just use that view modifier easily. So let's just type out view modifier. We don't care about the preview. And right over here, instead of my modifier, I'm going to go and call it link item view modifier. Okay, so there's that. Let me just remove all of the unnecessary stuff and let's have a little bit more space over here. Okay, so what do we actually need right over here? Well, we are going to need a lot of properties, and let me just go through them one by one. First of all, we are going to use the navigation destination is presented, but this is going to be private. The actual data change will be the item, so that will be the binding. Let me just type it out so you can see it a little bit clearer. So at state private var is presented, Boolean false. So this is our initial value. It's the destination is, the detail view is not presented. Next up, we want to add a binding. So add binding var item, and this will be of type item optional. When this is nil, we are not presenting anything. When this is set to a certain value, then we are going to present the detail view, the content. Now, we don't have the item defined, so let's just do that. Item will be of type identifiable and equatable. So, and equatable. I will just talk about why this needs to be both, so in just a second. Okay, so next up, we talked about this in the previous video also. We need an on dismiss. The navigation link does not have an on dismiss at all. So why not? Let's just add it right over here. Let on dismiss. It's just going to be an optional completion, just like this. Okay, and then finally a destination where we are going. At view builder var destination, and that will give us back the item, the optional item, so we can use the actual data that we are going to transfer into our destination. And then this will be a destination, and we do need to specify what our destination is, which is actually a view right over there. Okay, so we got our properties. Now let's just create a custom initializer. So maybe we don't need the on dismiss, or we don't care about it. So let's create the init, and then use the default suggestion, and let's clear this out. So is presented, this is a private variable, so no, we don't need that. Let's clear that out, and also from here. Okay, item, this is not what we want. We want this to be the item type. Okay, just like that. Default value will be nil. Actually, this should be a binding of the optional item, and yeah, we don't need a nil over here. We do care about the actual item. On dismiss, on the other hand, will be having a nil value as its default. And then destination, again, we need item right over here. Instead of view, we need destination. And this should also be a view builder. So let me just copy this out so I don't have any typos. There we go. Okay, so now that we got the custom properties inside the custom initializer, all we have to do is just add an underscore over here because it's a binding. We have to assign the item to its wrap value, basically. Okay, so that's our custom initializer. Now it's time to talk about the actual body right over here. So content, what do we want to do? Well, we want to use the navigation destination as we did in the previous video. So navigation destination, and we're going to use the one with the is presented. We're going to bind this to the private is presented state variable, and in just a sec I'm just going to show you how we are going to hack this, because this is private. You cannot actually access it from outside. We are going to toggle the is presented when the item data changes. Anyway, is presented, that's fine, and then the destination will be our destination, and we're going to pass along the item. This is really important because then you can just move that item into the view that, in our case, the detail view that you are going to add as the content of this new view modifier. Okay, so great. How do we yeah, let's take care of the on dismiss first. When is presented is going to be set to false, which is going to be set to false when we are just coming back from that view. Then we want to trigger the on dismiss. So we are going to listen on change of is presented, and we're going to have an old value which we don't care about, and then let me just replace the new value with is presented. And if this is false, so if $sign is presented, only then we are going to call upon the on dismiss, which is optional, and that callback. Okay, so actually all of this works. And if you've been taking a look at the previous episode, this is quite similar. Now, the issue here is that the binding is of type item, and we locked the navigation to this is presented, which that's the only thing we have actually. So now we kind of need to interlock them. So we are also going to listen on change of. We're going to listen to the item changes. So item, and then we're going to have an old value, which we don't care about, and also a new value. So this new value, whenever this is nil, actually the default value, we don't want to do anything. So we are going to guard against that. Guard new value equals nil, else we're just going to simply return. Okay. If the new value is non-nil, then we are going to say is presented equals true. And that's it. Now, whenever the item, actually we give a value to the item, we are actually going to trigger the navigation destination. We are going to navigate. Okay. And yeah, believe it or not, it's that simple. Let's create our extension on the view. So extension, view, and let's just call this func. Again, link. A previous one was called link, but that was with is presented. Now we are going to do it with the item. So link, let's just add in all of the necessary stuff. So item is of type identifiable and equatable. So because we are listening to the changes with the on change of on the item, that's why we need this to be equatable, by the way. Okay, and then destination of type view. And yeah, let's have an open parentheses, and maybe let's do this on a new line. Item, that will be of binding item. Yeah, let me just use this AI generated one, and I'm just going to go through it. So I make sure that everything is working. On dismiss is fine. Destination, escaping, item, destination, everything looks really nice. And then modifier. Okay, I think we don't need this. And then link title view modifier, we are just passing along. Great. Hooray for AI. Now, we can use this, and let's prepare our project for it. So let's scroll all the way up, and I'm just going to remove our button for now. Again, we are inside the navigation stack. See on the content view, so we can see it over here. And let's prepare our array of profiles. Right over here, at state private var profiles. And that will be an array of profiles, and but let's add some over here. So maybe just init, the name, either. Let's have some more. Let's see if, yeah. Okay, so we have at least 3 of them. And now we want to create a for each loop because we are inside the list. That is pretty straightforward. So for each profiles, yeah, that's fine. And let's just have a button over here, button with the title and action. So the title would be our profile name. Why not? Profile name. And then the action, what do we have for the action? Well, we want to have a selected item, right? So Ada, Grace, or Marie. So let's just put it right over here at state private var selected item. And that would be an optional item, the item default value, or sorry, not the item, profile. And then let's just call it selected profile. Why not? Profile. And it will be optional profile. We don't have anything selected at first, but then we're going to have. So on the button, we're going to say selected profile equals our profile, right? Okay, so now our data lives in the state variable. So what next? Well, we need to add that newly created link view modifier. we are not allowed to add this inside a lazily loaded view because we are using the navigation destination, which is not allowed inside lazily loaded views. Go ahead and check out the previous video again on this part. So not adding it on the button, not adding it on the for each, but outside of that lazy view, in our case, the list. So I'm just going to add it right over here. So link dot link. And now you can see we have the one with is presented and on this miss, which was on the previous video, and this one that we have just created. I'm going to use the one with the on this miss also. So let's just see. Binding item. We're going to use the selected profile for that. On dismiss, well, let's just print out again dismissed. Destination, now we are going to get back an item. In our case, it's a profile, so I'm just going to name it profile. It is identifiable and equatable. And the destination will be actually our detailed view with a profile of profile. Okay, before we test this out, I just want to rename this. Yeah, and we do have to, let me just comment this out for now. I like the content. It's the same with the sheet. So I'm just going to do this little tweak. So it is content. I just scroll all the way down. Instead of destination, I'm just going to go content and content right over here. We could not use content right over here for destination because we have this content in the view build, view modifier build body also. So now let's just comment this back in, and it will say that our detail view requires a non-optional value, while this profile is indeed optional. So what we are going to do is just unwrap it. So if let profile, then we are going to present our detail view. Okay, so yeah, let's test it out. This is the last thing that we need to do. Let me just click on Ada over here. Hello, Ada, Grace, and Marie. So it looks really, really nice. And also, please note that all of the printed out dismissed logs are inside the console right over here, which is an extra added benefit. You know, NavigationLink does not have this part. Okay, hope you enjoyed this one. If you like these types of apps, I build them myself. Go ahead and check out, just go over here, rebeloper.com inside rebeloper.com, and click on the request your private call. I will be able to build your business app with the help of all of these nice coding tricks for your business. Go ahead and check out the first link